Hi everyone, this is Kellyanne with Church Windows. I am the organizer or presenter for today's user group. Today we're going to look at advancing the school grade and advancing groups classes. Before we begin, just a few quick things. If it's your first time using the GoToWebinar, uh, coming to one of our user groups and using GoToWebinar, you have a toolbar. On that toolbar, you can pick what audio you'd like to use, telephone or mic and speakers. If you use telephone, that is not a toll-free call. So if you choose mic and speakers, all you really need are speakers. I will not be unmuting people to ask questions. Instead, I have Rachel helping me. She'll be answering questions as we look at the material. You can open up the question panel on your GoToWebinar toolbar by just clicking the plus sign by questions. And you can type questions in there, and Rachel will type out answers as I'm going through the material. And then at the end of the user group, we'll stick around and answer questions out loud. Please, though, out of respect for folks who are here to learn about advancing school grades and groups classes, let's go ahead and keep our questions topical. If you have questions regarding other topics, it might be best to call or email support, and we'd be happy to help you with those questions. Also, questions specific to your data. If you have an issue with advancing school grades or group classes, that also might be better handled on a support call or an email. Somebody mentioned the handouts. The handouts are something we're not going to have, I don't think, with every user group, but once or twice a month we'll offer those. And those are taken directly from the workbooks that can be purchased on our website. So it's kind of a little teaser to show you what's in the workbooks and give you a little bit of information. This group and class, or not group class, user group. It's pretty simple. Once I show you the difference between the two and how you do it, it's a pretty easy operation. And the help files in the program that you can access by hitting F1, I'm pretty sure they have pretty good information about advancing the school grade and groups classes. Also, really quickly, I have the website up right now, and I want to point out a few really useful links here if you're not aware of them. First, we're looking at the most current version, 17.14.4. If you're ever unsure about the current version, then under support here along the left, you can click on download current updates, and that will always show you the most current version. And then if you have questions about those, give us a call and we'll be happy to help get you up to date if you're not on the most current. Also, in support, you can click on the very second to last option, New Version Resources. This is quite a bit of, this list keeps growing. These are free movies. A lot of these are taken right from the user groups that we record and then clean up and standardize a bit and put them up here for you to view whenever you like. Also, though, under support, we have the support blog. This contains movies and documents. It's searchable by keyword. You can click across the top on any of the modules and see what's available for those, and we're constantly updating that with the most current version information. And then last but not least, I want to point out under Church Windows Training, that's where you would find the workbooks that we take when we have handouts attached to the user groups. We take a lot of those right from the workbooks. Those are available for sale. But if you were signed up, somebody else signed you up for this user group, take a look under training at the user group webinars. These are always ongoing throughout each month, and we have a list here of all the different topics. These are free. So if somebody else signed you up and you weren't aware there were other webinars, then take a look here. Most of these are coffee breaks, but every once in a while you see up here we had back on July 9th, we had a full hour combined webinar, but most of these are little 20-minute coffee break classes or user groups concentrating on one small topic just so we can teach you something really quickly and let you get on with your day. I'm going to go ahead and close the website here, and I already opened Church Windows to save us some time. So I had already opened Church Windows and then I clicked on membership. I want to show you one really quick thing. Before you advance school grades or advanced groups classes, because you're going to be changing a lot of information all at once, first, when you go into advanced groups classes, you get a warning you to make a backup. But I would even do it with advanced school grades in case you accidentally, somebody already did it, you didn't notice that it said it had already been advanced, and you go ahead and do it a second time. If you make a backup before you do either of these operations and you find out you shouldn't have done it, then you can easily restore that backup and be right back to where you were, provided it's not a week later. To make a backup, you just go into admin and backup, and then you choose what to back up and where, and hit start backup, and it will back up your existing data. Now let's go ahead. We only have 15 more minutes. Now we can stick around and answer questions, but for those of you who only have 20 minutes, I want to try to get through this for you. Advancing school grade, let me point out here, if we look on the records, there's a field on the records called school grade. I just highlighted it in purple, my favorite color. The advanced school grade function only affects that field, and it only affects school grades K through 12. If you've created school grades for anything prior to K or after high school, those would need to manually be advanced by you going in and doing a mass edit to change those or going through each record to change them. The advanced school grade function in the program only will advance K through 12, and it's only this one field on the record, school grade. Groups and classes, which we'll look at next, are the groups and classes you set up in the program. All right, to advance the school grade, we just go in membership to special functions, and we choose advanced school grade. Now, one thing real quick, I forgot, if we take a look here at Carol, we see her school grade is 09. Mary Beth is 07. So we keep those two in memory so we can come back and see that they indeed advance. So let's go back to special functions and advanced school grade. This tells us it's only going to advance K through 12. It only affects the school grade field. It does not affect groups and classes. If we're ready, we can click OK. It also tells you if someone has advanced school grade, it will tell you the last date that was done. We're going to ignore this because if somebody had actually done this in November, then we probably wouldn't need to do it now. But we're going to say, yes, we do need to advance school grade, so I'll click OK. Nice thing here, the program, though, will recognize if you try advancing school grades and it's been less than 9 months since the last time you did it, it will prompt you and say, are you sure you want to do this? And that's when you might want to say no and go back and look at that date. I know we want to do this just for the example of this class, so I'm going to say yes. It synced everything with donations, and it told me year in school advance for 23 people. That easy. So let's go look now. If we go to members and just bring up that first family, we can see Carol, who had a school grade of 09, now has been advanced to 10. And Mary Beth, who had a school grade of 07, is now advanced to 8. If we had printed out a big list of showing all the school grades, then we could compare and see that all of the different people that had a school grade on their record of K through 12, that advanced to the next level. Anyone with a school grade of 12, they would advance to show a G for their school grade, meaning a graduate. So advancing school grade is pretty easy. Again, I do recommend make a backup before you do it. Read the advanced school grade screen. Pay attention if it says there's a date of when it was last advanced, and make sure somebody else didn't already do it. If you're not sure, you might want to ask around the office. If you're ready to do it, you just hit that OK and it goes. Let's look at the difference between advancing the school grade and groups classes. Groups classes are what you set up in the program by going to attendance, set up groups classes, and here we can set up different groups or classes for the church. Let's take a look at groups classes skills interest assignment. And we'll just under first and second grade, I'm just going to write down a few names here. We got Bertha Allen, And we'll look at Mark Angelou. I'm going to do some of these that have no start and end dates. So I'll just write down 2 names. These people are already in the 1st and 2nd grade. So I'm going to close out. We know we want to advance at least our grade levels for our groups and classes. So to do that, we're going to go back to Special Functions and then to Advanced Groups Classes. Now this already, it warns me and says it's recommended you make a backup, and that's where I showed you where we go into admin and backup data. It's good to have that backup in case, if you're like me, you might make a mistake. So that way, if you make a mistake and advance the wrong kids or advance the wrong groups or classes, then you know you have that backup that you can restore and get right back to where you were. Now, if we look here at the first 2 columns, these are the current groups and classes, the code and description that we've created for our groups and classes. If you look at the 3rd and 4th column, this is where we're going to choose what we want to advance them to. So for my 1st and 2nd grade Sunday school, if I click this 3rd column, click the arrow here under code, I want to advance these kids to 3rd, 4th grade. Now I'll show you, we are going to advance some of them. We don't have to advance all. But I'm going to go down the line here, and for any of these groups or classes where I want to advance children to another level, I'm going to select what I want to advance them to. So we're just going to do the first 4 lines here because we just want to advance our grade levels. I don't want to advance any of my choirs or confirmation or any of those other groups or classes. Now I also have a checkbox. The second to last column is remove history. If you do not want a history or children to stay in older groups and classes when you advance them to the next level, then you can put a check here to remove history. If you want to keep track of what groups and classes children were in the past, then you would uncheck remove history, and I'll show you when we're advancing where you can enter start and end dates. If you're going to keep a history of who is in different groups and classes and not remove them from the old one, then definitely you want to put start and end dates so you know who was in the class in the past versus who's in it now. The last column will show me when this group or class was last advanced and, according to the login name, who actually did that advancing. So once I've chosen the group or class I want to advance people to, then upper left I want to click Save. Now maybe I got started on this and I had a big long list and suddenly I realized it's time for lunch. I need to go and come back to this after my lunch. I can close out of here because all I've done right now is establish for the existing groups and classes what group or class I want to advance them to. So now if I go back into Special Functions and Advanced Groups Classes, reminds me to make a backup. And everything I had done prior to clicking Save is still here. So it's still ready and waiting for me to finish advancing. What I'm going to do now is highlight any of the lines that I want to advance. Now I can highlight more than one line by holding the Control key on my keyboard to highlight random ones. Or if it's an entire block, I can hold the Shift key down and click on the last item in the block that I want to highlight. So now I see all of the groups and classes that I am ready to advance highlighted. And upper left, I'm going to click Advance. So now I get a little box that says Advanced Groups Classes, and it's starting with the very first line that I have highlighted. I don't have to start backwards because the program is smart enough after I advance these children from 1st to 2nd to 3rd and 4th. When I go to advance the 3rd and 4th, it is smart enough to not show the people I just moved into 3rd and 4th. So when I bring up the next screen to advance those 3rd and 4th graders, it's only going to be the current ones, not the ones I'm just right now going to advance. Now, because this is a combined 1st, 2nd grade class, maybe I have a list of kids who are only moving up to 2nd grade, so I don't want to advance them. I can click on different names here and unhighlight them, And by unhighlighting them, those students are not going to advance when I click OK. Now, if I did not have remove history checked, this is where you would want to put in start and end dates if you want to track a history of who was in groups and classes in the past, currently, and you can even do future. We are removing history, so I'm not going to put a start and end date in. I'm just going to click OK. And these 4 children are going to advance. Now, remember I wrote down Alan, Bertha, and Mark Angelou so we could take a look and assign once we're done. But I want you to also, when we bring up the next screen, notice these 2 people that I'm just now moving to 3rd and 4th grade are not going to show on the screen for advancing out of 3rd and 4th grade because they're not a current member of the group. They're about to be. So I'll click OK. It tells me 4 people successfully advanced, so I can say OK to that. Now if I look at my list, notice this is just the students that are in 3rd and 4th grade prior to me just now advancing some of those 1st and 2nd graders, Bertha Allen and Mark Angelou. Notice they are not on this list because they were not current as today. I just added them or advanced them just 10 seconds ago. So again, here I can unhighlight if there's students that aren't going to advance that next level. I can unhighlight their names and click OK. Tells me how many people I just moved from 3rd and 4th to 5th and 6th. Say OK to that. And now it's moved on to my 3rd line, or moving from 5th, 6th to 7th, 8th. Maybe all these kids are moving, so we won't unhighlight anyone. We'll just click OK. Tells me 6 people successfully advanced. Say OK to that. And now it brings up the last group or class I want to advance, my 7th and 8th graders, to my Senior High Youth Fellowship. We're just going to move all of them. So I'll say OK here. Tells me 5 people successfully advanced. I can say OK to that. And now I can close this screen. And let's go take a look. If we go to attendance, groups, classes, skills, interest, assignment. If I bring up that 1st and 2nd grade, notice the students I unhighlighted are still there. Or I also have some past groups and classes. But if I go ahead and take a look at my 3rd and 4th grade, we see that Bertha Allen did get advanced from 1st and 2nd to 3rd and 4th, as did Mark Angelou. So the advanced screen, it is a little more complex than just advancing the school grade, and admittedly I know when I first started it was a little confusing, but I think once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy to advance your groups and classes with just a few clicks rather than having to go into each assignment screen, delete people from it, go over to the next group and class and add them back. Under special functions, the advanced groups classes is a quick and easy way to advance those people. And again, if you want to keep a history, you can add start and end dates, and that way you can tell who was in it in the past versus in the future. Now there's a question already. Rachel, if you want, I can just answer that out loud. Somebody asked, preschool and pre-K are common classes for many congregations. Are there plans to make these classes that can be advanced instead of having to do it manually? Again, now that's a school grade. So I want to clarify that terminology. If you set up preschool and pre-K groups and classes, any of your groups and classes that you set up can be advanced. However, the advanced school grade, that is just K through 12. Honestly, I do not know if there are plans to add pre-K or preschool school grade fields and have those advanced by the advanced school grade function, but I will go ahead and add that to suggestions for the programmers. I don't know if Rachel knows anything, if she's heard anything about that. If you do know of any plans, then let us know, but I have not heard any plans, but I'll definitely add it to suggestions for you. All right. So that is the end of what I wanted to show you for advancing school grades and advancing groups classes. If we're in advanced school grade, I do want to show you if I hit F1 on my keyboard, brings up the topic advanced school grade, which you can read right off the screen, or you can print that out if you like. Same thing if I go to special functions, advanced groups classes, and say OK to that backup warning. If I hit F1 on my keyboard while in the advanced groups classes screen, that brings up a great help topic right on the screen that you can read or print out to help you with the advanced groups classes. So if you were frantically trying to write all of that down, I know I went through it really quickly. That was a lot to cover in 20 minutes. That is available in your help files by just hitting F1 on your keyboard when you're in the school grade or advanced groups classes screen. Any other questions? Now, if you're in the middle of typing something, you might want to go ahead and hit enter and then continue typing because I don't want to end the class while somebody's in the middle of typing a question, not realizing you have a question. If you need to go ahead and exit the room, just click the X on your GoToWebinar toolbar. You will not offend me if you leave before I say we're done, but Rachel and I will stick around to answer questions. Someone asked if the webinar will be available online to view again later. Yes, I am recording this, and once it's cleaned up a little and standardized, then we do put those up on the, let me show you again, under support. Most likely that will be added to the version resource page. And also some of the movies are available on our support blog. There are both movies and documents on our support blog. And let me highlight those in case I'm going too fast. Those are both under support, the very last two items, the new version resources and the support blog. And those are free, so those are available for you to watch. You could be home in your PJs watching those, drinking coffee in the morning. All right, more questions? Someone asked, are there plans in place that would allow a person to be able to create groups by criteria, i.e. school grade? Well, if you mean can you search for people and then create a group class based on those people, I mean, you already have the ability to do a find and then in school grade put in or do whatever find you want and then hit go, which would bring up a list of the people who meet that criteria. From there, you can click on assign, and then here you could choose the group or class you want to enter them in. And once you choose that, the people you search for appear over on the left, and you could just add them right to that group or class. If you don't have the group or class made, then you can click add right up at the top, go in and make your group and class, and then come back to the screen and add them to it. So I think what you're asking is already available. Little more in depth than what we're showing in the webinar today. So Joe, if you need help with that, give us a call and I can show you how to do that a little slower, or if I'm not available, another tech can. I take my lunch at 2. I take a late lunch. So I think what you're asking for can already be done, Joe. So you might want to give us a call, or I don't know if that answered your question. Then he did say that is make a group or class based on the school grade. That way when the school grade advances, the group classes automatically changes. I don't know that we could do that because if you noticed in our groups and classes, we had one that was first and second graders, another that's third and fourth graders, and so on. So I might not every church would maybe want groups and classes to advance with their school grade. I can certainly add it to suggestions, but I don't know that, that would fit what everybody wanted to do. But I can certainly add it to suggestions that when you advance school grade, it automatically advances the group's classes. Sure. More questions? And somebody asked, where can you find handouts? Again, the handouts we are just adding once or twice a month because we take those right from the workbooks that we sell on our website. So we're giving you a little free sample of those workbooks. However, everything I showed you today, again, if you go to, whoops, let me bring that back up. If I go back into special functions, advanced school grade, and hit F1, whoops, oops, come back here. I went too fast. All right, now if I hit F1, that brings up a help topic that is just as good as any handout we could have attached to this group, this webinar. The advanced school grade topic goes over everything I showed you here. And then the advanced groups classes, if I hit F1 when in the advanced screen, that brings up the help topic that you can print out as well. And again, that's just as good as any handout I think we could give you for this group or class on advancing the school grade or group class. So I think those are really helpful if you wanted to print out the help files. That goes over, all the different functions on those two screens. All right, any other questions? Okay, someone mentioned another program and the ability to create static groups or groups based on the criteria chosen. I don't know what you mean by a static group. You can create a group. You can, enter search criteria and members or visitors, and then go click assign on your grid like I showed you, and that would bring up the assign screen where if you haven't made the group or class, you can click add. And then after you make it, you can add those people you just search for based on criteria right into the group or class. But again, that's a little more involved than what we were showing today. So if you need more help with that, Joe, give us a call and we'll show you how to do that. Any other questions? All right, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. If you're in the middle of typing, then I hit enter because I'm about to close the room. Um, Thank you so much for attending. I hope you learned something today about advancing school grades versus advancing groups classes. If you have questions, you can definitely call support or email support@churchwindows.com, and we'd be happy to help you. Again, take a look on our website at some of those other user groups coming up. I know I'm doing 2 next week. I don't recall the topics off the top of my head, but we do have some others coming up, and we will be posting August user groups soon. So take a look at those and sign up for as many as you like. Again, thanks for attending. I'm going to go ahead and close the room, and everybody have a great day. Thanks. Bye.